Business owners or entrepreneurs who are not willing to look within are going to create the shadow, and then they're not going to want to deal with it because it's too painful.
All right, so let's talk about some ways of preventing micromanaging. What do you think is the biggest trait someone needs to have to avoid being a micromanager?
I'll go first. I think the biggest trait, and you guys have heard me talk about this, to avoiding micromanagement is the ability to look inward. That it really starts there. That if things are not going right in your organization, that you're looking at what you're doing to contribute to that. So, if someone is not hitting the marks with an assignment, did you not train them well enough? Did you not give them enough instructions on what you were wanting? Did you make expectations clear? Because sometimes you can be in a rush and say, hey, I need this. Say, for example, I need this piece of content done by tomorrow. Okay, the person writes the piece of content, you get it, and you're like, what is this? This is terrible. But the reality is, if you really listen to how I described it, I didn't tell them what the content was, what was the goal of the piece, how long it needed to be, what channel it was going to be on, how I was going to use it, right? I didn't give clear instructions about that piece of content that I needed, but I'm looking at the person and going, hey, this is terrible. But the reality is I didn't equip them. So, but if I don't look inwards, if I'm that person that doesn't look inwards, then the first thing I'm going to do is say, you know what, forget it. I'll do it. I got this, right? And that's a huge mistake. It's like, and that is a quality that is not often taught, that really it is you that is causing the problems in your organization, that it's not necessarily your employees, but it's really you.
So it's like there's a collection of traits, but they all kind of relate to the same thing. So when we say looking within, having empathy, we're really talking about self-awareness. Like, how self-aware are you? And that's not always taught or easy to learn. I don't know. That's sort of what I take from it.
Yeah, I agree. It's like you're saying managing yourself is more important than managing others. Like you've got to do that work on yourself first to build a good team.
Yeah, there's like maybe a bigger conversation in all this, but if you think about a business, what a business is, you're an entrepreneur and a business owner. A business is a external system of you. Like, you're taking your competencies and you're creating systems to create products, customer service, all these things. And so in the same way that you can create your strengths, you can also create a system of weaknesses too. Like, your shadow becomes manifest in the company you built. Business owners or entrepreneurs who are not willing to look within are going to create the shadow, and then they're not going to want to deal with it because it's too painful, because they're looking at hurt inside of them that they're trying to avoid. What would be advice maybe for people who have businesses that might not be selling as well as they want it to? Employees who might not be performing to the degree that they want them to.
Well, there's a lot of things that you can do. The biggest is having accountability partners, having people in your corner that you are willing to listen to, that are not yes people, that will tell you, I wouldn't say tell you, but will hold a mirror up to you and say, hey, this is what I'm noticing about your leadership style. This is just an observation, right? That, and I have my own. So it's like, sometimes if I'm feeling like I want to take over a situation, I'll talk to my accountability partners and I'll be like, hey, I'm having this struggle. I'm thinking of coming in and handling the situation this way. And they'll be blunt and just like, you know what? How about you delegate more?
Yeah.
How about, I think you should take that approach, and then that will strengthen your leadership. And what ends up happening is, like, if you are around just your employees, they're not the best accountability partners because they can say the wrong thing to get them fired. If they come in and say, you know what, let me hold a mirror up to you, boss. It's like, first of all, they're just going to, most bosses are going to be defensive. And it's really because what they're hearing is critiques. Oh, how dare you come in and critique me? And so anytime you critique someone, it doesn't matter who they are, they're just going to constantly be in a defensive posture because it's like a fight or flight type of situation. Like, you're threatening me, when the reality is that person wants to help you. So that's why if you have accountability partners, it's important that they're really not associated with your organization and that they're people that are going to challenge you to grow and to expand. But it also goes into someone's mentality, because if somebody is a narcissist or they're ego-driven, accountability partner won't work with them. Yeah, they're just going to automatically think, I have all the right answers, so who needs you, right? But if somebody doesn't have that particular trait, then yeah, accountability partner will be really great for them.
So we're talking about creating just feedback loops, a way that you can get feedback from the people around you to know, am I leading well? How am I not leading well? How am I not giving you guys enough ownership over projects? How am I not empowering you? What can we do kind of better? And we need that kind of feedback on an ongoing basis to keep from slipping into bad habits, maybe.
Yeah, and it seems like having a culture of accountability within your company is really important too, because if the person at the top is setting the standard of accountability and being open with their employees, like, hey, I messed up on this. Mm-hmm. This could have been done better. I'm taking responsibility. Everyone else is going to feel safe to take responsibility for their own mistakes. And so then the leader knows that, well, if the team is always taking responsibility and owning up to their mistakes, I don't have to watch them like a hawk and pounce on them every time they do make a mistake, because they're going to be honest with me and they're going to grow from that rather than try to hide everything.
Yeah, that's great. So I'm going to bring up an objection that maybe our audience is feeling. Hey, Nick, that's great, but you have no idea how many times this employee has messed up. What am I supposed to do with, this person I've entrusted with this responsibility? My ad manager, I tell them to launch a campaign. It's always late, 2 days late. How do I handle those issues, like those chronic problems where maybe you have an employee who's not doing that well? Should I not micromanage them? What should I do in those situations?
That's a good objective, and it's really how they're going at them. So if you're coming at that person and it's like, hey, why are you not always getting this campaign? Well, first of all, if you start off questions with why, they automatically create a defensive mechanism in the person. It's really about slowing down and asking questions like, do you have everything that you need to launch this campaign by Thursday? Do you understand the objective? Do you understand why it's critical that we get this up by Thursday? Do you understand that? Have I thoroughly explained that to you? Right? Because then this goes back to what we were talking about earlier. There could be critical pieces of information that has been left out that the person doesn't know. And this goes into empathy. Like, if you just slow down and just think from that person's perspective, maybe they don't realize that it's actually critical to the business to launch on Thursday because it's the same day that your product is launching. It's all this money that you've put behind this project that you want to start getting some return on. So you might have been in a situation, and so you also have to realize that person's not thinking from your perspective either. They're not thinking from, if we're using the same example, how much money you've put into this product and how much risk is behind the launch of this product and how much your business is depending on this particular product to succeed. And they also don't understand the stress that you're under to make sure that everyone is being provided for. So So for them, they could just be thinking, well, I can put this up whenever I need to. I mean, what's the big deal? It's up by Friday. Who cares, right? And they don't understand that actually it is a big deal. And so, but if you come in saying, hey, this is a big deal, you need to get this up by Friday, it's like automatically, it's like, oh gosh, why are you attacking me? You know, instead of like having that empathy, like, okay, they don't understand. So let me ask that about them. Now, if you're asking these questions and they're deliberately still not doing it, then now you need to just cut it off. Like that person, they understand the objectives, you've explained it, you've even asked these probing questions and they're refusing to do it, then yeah, that person doesn't want to be there anymore. They've totally checked out, and it's okay to say, you know what, this isn't working out for both of us. I don't think this is your passion, and it's time to go ahead and let you go.
Yeah, I like how like your gut reaction is ask questions, like not why, but hey, what's going on? How am I not supporting you? So I really like how that is disarming, and that allows for a really good conversation. What I also hear you saying is, don't hire the type of employees who need to be micromanaged in the first place. Like that's another element to this, is hiring the right people.